In the book of Daniel, and especially in the beginning chapters, we have the narrative account of Daniel and his friends Shadrach, Meschach, and Abednego, who are among a group of young men taken from Jerusalem to Babylon, where they were taught the ways of the Babylonians, and eventually came to places of importance in the government there. And Daniel and his friends remained faithful to God and to their upbringing in terms of their faith. And in the third chapter of the book of Daniel, we have this account of Shadrach, Meschach, and Abednego, and how because of their rise to power and authority, other people were jealous of them. And so the king made a statue of an idol, and the rule was that when certain music was played, everyone had to bow down to this and worship this idol. And Shadrach, Meschach, and Abednego refused to bow down. And so these people, these men who were jealous of them, went to the king and reported this. And the king was angry, but he decided that he would give them another chance to obey the law and bow down to the idol. And Shadrach and Meschach and Abednego answered the king in this way in Daniel chapter 3, starting in verse 16. Shadrach, Meschach, and Abednego replied to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to give you an answer concerning this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the furnace of blazing fire, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But even if he does not, let it be known to you, O king, that we are not going to serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up." And so in the face of this, what was going to be a death sentence of being thrown in the fiery furnace, Shadrach, Meschach, and Abednego say, God is able to deliver us, but even if he doesn't, we're not going to bow down to your idol. We're not going to worship any other god. And so Shadrach, Meschach, and Abednego were thrown into the fiery furnace. It was heated hotter than it ever had been, and the end result was that they looked into this furnace, and instead of seeing 3 men in there, they saw 4. They bring out Shadrach, Meschach, and Abednego. There's not a mark on them. They don't even smell like smoke. And their lives were saved, and the king worships God. And I think that is a remarkable story, and certainly as I was taught that story growing up in Sunday school, the emphasis was on God's saving power over Shadrach, Meschach, and Abednego. But as I've grown older, I think perhaps the thing that stands out more to me is their answer to the king. It's great that God saved them, but their answer to say, God is able, but even if he doesn't, we're still going to remain faithful. Because the reality is, in a lot of our lives, the things that God is able to do, heal, restore relationships, all of those things, sometimes they happen, but a lot of times they don't. A lot of times we go through the illness. A lot of times we deal with breakups in relationships. A lot of times we deal with unfairness at work. And God doesn't come in and miraculously change our circumstances. So my prayer for us is that we would be people like Shadrach, Meschach, and Abednego, who are willing to say, even if he doesn't, I'll still worship him.